Hello and a warm swagatam to It's My Life, the program that brings you face to face with the multifaceted politicians of the country. This week we are in the capital city of God's own country, Thiruvananthapuram. And our guest is a person who does not need much of an introduction. He's a columnist, a writer, a former diplomat, and of course, a renowned politician. Let's meet Minister of State for Human Resource and Development, Dr. Shashi Tharoor this time. Minister of State for Human Resource and Development Shashi Tharoor, Member of Parliament from the Constituency of Thiruvananthapuram, was born in London to Lily and Chandran Tharoor. After his parents returned to India, he began his schooling at Montfort School in Yercaud, Tamil Nadu and Campion School in Mumbai. Tharoor subsequently obtained a bachelor's degree from St. Stephen's College in Delhi and then pursued graduate studies at Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University, from where he obtained an MA, MALD and a PhD in 1979 at the age of 23. Shashi Tharoor's career in the United Nations began in 1978 as a staff member of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees in Geneva. From 1981 to 1984, he headed the UNHCR office in Singapore during the Boat People crisis. Until 2007, he was a career official at the United Nations, rising to Under Secretary General for Communications and Public Information, but resigned after losing to Ban Ki-moon in 2007 election for the Secretary General. After his entry into politics in 2009, he served as a Minister of State for External Affairs, but resigned in less than a year after a controversy. It's early morning time at Condor Marigold apartment of Shashi Tharoor, busy with his morning Janta Darbar, meeting people from all sections of Thiruvananthapuram society. And we are now heading towards a religious spot. At the famous Attukala Bhagwati temple, and we begin our Thiruvananthapuram journey from this particular place. Look at the board here. The largest annual gathering of women is achieved by 2.5 million women in an event organized by the Attukal Bhagwati temple, and which is why this temple is also called the Lady Sabrimala temple.
So Dr. Tharoor, what is the real speciality of this temple and how big is this event?
It's a very famous temple, the Artigal Temple. Incredibly large gathering of women who come not only from Trivandrum but from all the southern districts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu to perform the Pongala. The Pongala is a festival in which women cook rice and kheer and so on for God, and it's literally lakhs of these little wood fires all along. In fact, it'll be worth coming back to see, because literally the Pongala fires are lit all the way up to the center of town.
Okay.
Because those who come very early, sometimes 2-3 days early, and spend the night here, they get positions nearer the temple.
Okay.
Otherwise it stretches on all the sidewalks into the middle of Trivandrum. When the Pongala happens, essentially the population of Thiruvananthapuram city, which is only 1 million, gets doubled or more than doubled, 10 times sometimes, the number of people who come for that day.
We are at a school opening ceremony, a school which has been built with his MP Lads Fund.
So, what have you done through the MP Lads program? Because we just saw this particular school.
We have, to be very honest, I've done about 150 projects in the 4 years so far under the MP Lad Fund, so it's difficult to give you a quick summary. They range from constructing Anganwadis, where little children can be looked after during the day while their parents are at work,
Okay.
to school buildings, rooms, computers for the schools, science labs, all the sort of thing. Even before I came into the Human Resource Development Ministry, I would try and give as much as I could.
But you don't have a target of numbers or anything per year that, okay, you're going to do this much?
The idea is to spend every penny the government gives. So the government used to give 2 crores a year, now it's 5 crores a year, and we spend it all. Thank you.
Real challenges of rural Kerala at this point in time. We came to your constituency, we saw, I mean, there are a number of schools, a number of hospitals.
We have all the challenges that you can imagine, because even though Kerala in some ways, in many ways, is better off than other states, and the levels of absolute poverty here are lower than elsewhere, there still are some challenges. Agriculture is in a very bad shape. We are actually suffering from drought in some parts of the state, particularly here in the Thiruvananthapuram area, where there's been severe shortage of rainfall last time.
When it comes to image projection and taking a number of initiatives, are you doing something, because you were also involved with the communications strategy and everything? So are you doing particularly anything?
Well, that was very different. I must say that I haven't actually, in the first couple of years, I refused to do all the conventional things to promote my image. I felt my work would speak for itself.
Okay.
So I refused to let even well-meaning supporter groups put up flex boards and so on. I said they deface the countryside. I don't want to do this. I refused to put up posters.
Gradually you learned that wouldn't work.
And then everyone said, what you're doing, nothing, you're inactive, you're invisible. I said, you have no idea how much work I've done. Look at all the things I've got. They said, how do we know that? So I finally surrendered, and now we're doing a lot more of this in terms of putting out material. There are flex boards advertising some of our accomplishments.
When it comes to controversies and the kind of controversies you faced in the initial years, I mean, what, I mean, it just happened. Like you said something and it became a controversy.
Like that controversy over the word interlocutor, which I use perfectly correctly. Interlocutor does not mean
you explained the
intermediary.
meaning also.
But unfortunately, the press made such a song and dance about it that it blighted the Prime Minister's visit to Saudi Arabia, and I felt so bad that I had been the reason for it, even though I had not said anything wrong. So this is the frustration that one has in our media environment. In fact, somebody was saying that, having read about all my so-called controversies, that these would not have been controversies in any other democracy. Cattle class is a routine expression in most English-speaking countries.
But cattle class reminds me, are you a little careful now while tweeting? That, okay, now you think twice before you
I do, and I'm very careful with using any humor that can be misunderstood, because the terrain of our politics is not friendly or not hospitable to humor.
Dr. Tharoor, are you still considered as an elite outsider when you move around the political circles?
Not in my constituency. In my constituency, the acceptance by people is fabulous. And in urban India and sort of educated middle class India, I think I'm very much seen as somebody they can relate to.
Ida poi, ida vanu. Is that Malayalam right, sir?
Close enough.
So let's take a break at this point in time. When we come back, we'll take you to the rural parts of Thiruvananthapuram. Don't go away. Back in a moment. The divide between the urban and the rural areas in Kerala is not very distinct. We are right now at Vallarada village, which is almost at the borders of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. This place abounds in primary health centers, there are a number of schools, and the people look more or less contented.
Rural meetings and rallies are always about a different flavor for Shashi Tharoor. Close to 10 villages have gathered where people from far off places have come to hear and see him. After hectic touring of the constituency, this is Dr. Tharoor's favourite tea stall by the village side. And guess what? The exotic black tea.
And to Rajya Sabha.
Right now we are at Dr. Shashi Tharoor's office in Trivandrum, and this crowd of people you see behind me are petitioners who've come up with their grievances, hoping that their MP is going to listen to them. now heading towards All Saints College, where Dr. Tharoor is going to interact with women.
This is All Saints Women's College, an opportunity for women and girls to interact with the minister.
Now I call upon Amrita of DC to Communication English to come onto the stage.
Congratulations, so proud of you, so proud of you. I have a small little something for you. We'll get something better. It's just a diary. Oh, I should write something. Sure. And is it? Well done. The biggest event politically in New Delhi in the last part of last year, in December, the sad attack on a young woman. It has raised questions in the minds of young people, particularly in the nation's capital, Delhi. They say, can we not be safe in our own country's capital? The truth is that India is, by and large, not an unsafe country. What do we do to empower women? The first and most important thing, in my view, is education. If you educate a boy, you educate a person, and that's very good, very important. But various studies have proved that if you educate a girl, you educate a family, you transform a community, you change society.
A hot favorite amongst the women, Tharoor charmed the audience with his impressive gift of the gap.
So when you have to catch your lunch in the middle of all these events, what do you normally prefer? You give your preferences from beforehand?
This is the land of masala dosa, so one can very quickly get one. It takes 10 minutes and then you carry on. Sometimes it is part of the program that somebody will host me. I've had various kinds of lunches. I love Kerala food, the Kerala Sadhya. But there are a couple of things that Keralites love that I don't like. For example, the typical common Kerala dish is avial.
Yeah.
I can't stand avial.
Okay.
Then there is tapioca, kappa, which is, I didn't grow up here, so I never had that taste, and I just couldn't adjust.
Now, in between the busy schedule, we are right now at the Shankhamukham beach of Thiruvananthapuram. What is so special about this place?
Well, this is where all of Trivandrum and in some places beyond comes to relax, particularly in the evenings and on the weekends. But it's a historic place. We have, there's a fishing boat out there. We have a lot of public space for people to walk and kids to play and so on.
Okay.
A lot of stands. If you come here in the evening, it's absolutely chock-a-block with people. You won't be able to walk like this.
You're never fond of going into the water and...
I'm not much of a water person. In any case, once I do, how do I get changed again to get back to work?
Career as an MP for the last 3 years. How would you rate yourself, and how, I mean, do you feel that you've done justice to your job?
Yes, in fact, I said when I first came here that if I felt I couldn't make a difference, I would not contest again. Okay. But I do feel I've made a difference. I'm actually very proud of the fact that I've been the only MP to have regularly released reports to the public.
Time for a short break. Don't go away. We'll come back with many more facets of Dr. Shashi Tharoor's life. Back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching It's My Life with Dr. Shashi Tharoor. From God's own country, we are back to his Delhi residence. Sunanda is a part of your life now, and when she's not around, how much time do you really spend with each other? Because mostly you were telling me she's traveling.
No, it's not that. It's that I'm gone a lot.
Okay.
And she has therefore less incentive to remain here. She's got a son in Dubai who's studying there.
Okay.
So, and she has a home there that she likes to visit. And she has some lingering professional interests there. She used to be working in the government real estate side, and that's always still there. But otherwise, her main interests now are very much here. She started a philanthropic charity called Nari for women.
Okay.
She's also been helping with my tiny family foundation in Trivandrum that helps poor people there.
Many people have read about your life, how you met Sunanda. I'm not getting into those details, but maybe just tell us a little about that first moment when you met Sunanda. And
Well, when I first met her, it was actually at a conference, the reception following an education conference. By curiosity, I was asked to speak at a conference here in Delhi in the Imperial in 2008.
okay.
It was purely a social thing at a reception, and in fact, for another year or so, we met at most 3 or 4 times socially.
It wasn't like a love at first sight or anything. It was like,
I was very attracted to her. Very attracted to her.
okay.
But it blossomed into something else in a very unusual situation. I remember a party at a close friend's house when suddenly an old gentleman there started choking. And Sunanda, who had accompanied me and was new to the place and to the friends there, was the first one, in fact, the only one to rush over and help the old man and give him something to drink and stop him from choking. And I just thought, what a remarkable woman.
What's the kind of relationship with your kids now? And Sunanda is also with you. Okay, your kids also.
No, my kids are not with me. It's very sad. They're now 28 years old. They have their own lives. One of them is at Time magazine for the last 6-7 years almost.
Okay.
And is doing well there. But he's in New York. He was in Hong Kong earlier and is now based in New York. And his twin Kanishk was a journalist in London.
Okay.
With Open Democracy. Ishan is the one in Time magazine. Kanishk was in London. He's also moved to New York.
Okay.
Went back to graduate school. Did some... did a master's degree in history. They both are graduates from Yale. And
So they're truly into the father's footsteps.
no, their mother writes very well too. She's a professor of English. So,
Right.
So I think they've got it from both sides.
But now when the kids come home and you tend to spend time with them, so what is the kind of relationship like Sunanda has with the kids?
Yes, I mean, it's, they're not children anymore. So these are relationships amongst adults. And yes, they do get along very well. And my sons sadly don't get that much time to come here. Ishan gets a grand total of 3 weeks a year of leave. And he has obviously his mother's family to visit. He has some holidays he'd like to take with girlfriends or whatever. So, I don't see them that often.
You were also awarded the most stylish man in Delhi. So what is the inspiration for that style?
Look, I didn't seek that distinction, and I'm surprised I got it. Most of my life I've rather been indifferent to what I wear and how I look. And I don't say this with false modesty. It's simply that it just wasn't the most important thing. I mean, I didn't grow up surrounded by a very fashion-conscious family. In fact, as a middle-class boy growing up in India, you don't think about those things very much. And certainly, from about class 10 onwards, my trademark style, so-called, was just pants and a kurta.
But does Sunanda gives you tidbits?
Oh yes, and Sunanda is
wear?
absolutely my style consultant when it comes particularly to evenings out and so on.
Dr. Tharoor, how much time do you really get for writing now? Between the busy schedule, you're attending school functions and to Shastri Bhavan, cabinet meetings. So do you really get enough time for writing?
I got no time for writing. The truth is that writing requires time, which I don't have. This is a very, very demanding and busy job. It requires a space inside your head, which I don't have. That is, you need to create an alternative universe. And you're writing a novel, which is what I'd started to do.
But you're seeing so much happening in politics. So you're not thinking of penning a book on politics or what you're going through, what you're seeing around yourself?
I don't think it would be right to do that until one has left that world.
Okay.
I think as long as you're in it, you owe a certain loyalty to that profession and play it by its rules. If one day...
So you mean to say you won't be able to write an honest piece as long as you're in there in the profession?
If one day, for whatever reason, I'm no longer in politics or I choose to retire from politics, certainly, I've been pestered so much to write about sort of my reflections, my memoirs, my autobiography, whatever you like. And I've always said, no, I haven't done enough to do that. But perhaps one day I could look back and talk about this world, but this is not the time.
But you haven't, the kind of life you've seen, a lot of churnings, it's quite an eventful life you've led. None of the film producers or the directors have contacted you.
Certainly hope not, thank you. I'm a simple guy who's enjoying it. His two favorite items, by the way, are idlis and mangoes.
Okay, wish you all the best, Dr. Tharoor.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
My pleasure, Neelu. Thank you.